Hi, it's Heather Joy with Perfectly Curated Life. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to do a quick and easy chicken stir fry. You can whip this up in about 10 or 15 minutes. We're going to walk through the entire process, and we're also going to go over a few tips on making perfect rice. So before we start making the stir fry, let's look at the rice because I can hear my water boiling in the background. So I have measured out about 1.5 cups of water. And that water is now to boil. I added some salt and I have my rice here. The important thing to know is that I washed the rice for about 2 minutes before letting it dry for about half an hour. And the washing process really helps to get off any excess starch and helps the rice to cook better. So I'm just gonna add this rice to my pot there. And then I'm going to give it a quick stir and let it come back to a boil. Once it's back boiling, I'm going to cover it with both the lid and with a piece of aluminum foil, turn the heat all the way down, and then let it simmer for about 10 or 15 minutes. And that will give me perfect rice. In the meantime, I'm gonna turn my wok here and start preparing our stir fry. So, I have here a pound of ground chicken, some scallions, chopped up peas, snow peas, shiitake mushrooms, red peppers, carrots, which I have blanched so that we can cut down a bit on the cooking time, water chestnuts and bamboo shoots, and then lastly, some black beans. And these are not like the black beans from Goya or from a Hispanic food company that you would eat at a normal Latin food restaurant. These are actually dried and fermented black soybeans. So they're quite salty. I rinse these off. They still do retain some of the salt from the fermentation process. And these are gonna give a nice sort of savory kick to the sauce. So our water is boiling again. This is my handy dandy piece of foil. And this is gonna help keep all of the steam in the rice. So I'm gonna turn this all the way down to almost as low as it can go. I'm going to put this over the lid pot and then put the lid on. Now keep my eye on that. Okay. Well, there we go. All right, so I'm going to start with cooking the ground chicken. And you guys know that I love a little music to go along with things. So today we'll be listening to Miss Whitney Elizabeth Houston all day. Whitney's birthday would have been on the 9th, which was just about 3 or 4 days ago now. As you all know, she has died, but her music and her legacy live on. I don't know if you guys watch these two twins from Gary, Indiana, African-American twin young men. They're about 20 or 21, I think, and they do these reviews of songs that they've never heard. So they've been all over media this week because they did a really cute one to Hearing in the Air Tonight by Phil Collins, which was out, I don't know, like probably 10 or 15 years before they were born. And they have a whole collection of videos that they've done, and one of them was from Whitney Houston. So her title track from The Bodyguard. So you can check that out if you can. But in the meantime, we're gonna listen to her song, Higher Love. It's actually Steve Winwood's song from the 80s, and then it was remixed last year and was a really big hit. So while we're cooking up our chicken, we're gonna do that. So with the wok, you really want to make sure that it's hot. The wok is hot, the oil is cool. And we're gonna start with the meat because it takes longer to cook. Once we put in our vegetables, we're gonna be ready to rock and roll. And this will come together in no time flat. So I'm going to build these flavors slowly and start with a little bit of salt. So once this is finished browning, then I will add to this to the pan a little bit more oil garlic and ginger to start, and then we're just gonna throw in our vegetables and go from there. Now, one thing I want to note is that if you like a thicker sauce, you may want to add a little bit of cornstarch and water mixed in equal parts at the end of the sauce making process, and that will help to thicken things up a bit. So I have some there. I don't know what we're going to use. It's going to depend on how this looks when we finish cooking it up. And we also have, I want to show you this. We have the beans. These are really inexpensive. I think they're like $2 for this package. This is a whole pound. We're only using 5 tablespoons in today's recipe. So we'll also use some rice vinegar and a little bit of sambal to give it some kick. This is spicy-ish, but tolerable for even people who don't love a whole lot of spice. It has a ton of flavor. I first had that in Vietnam last year, and then I started seeing it on the shelves here. I guess I became more conscientious about it after I became aware of it. I'm sure it's been there all along, but I just started noticing it last year. So I love this. It can be used as a condiment or in food in the cooking process, and we're going to use it for the latter. Okay, so our chicken is almost done here. I'm gonna pause you guys for just a second, put the chicken in another plate, and then we're gonna cook up our vegetables. So I'll be back in just a moment.